Okay, new parents, let's talk about the one thing that's probably on your mind 24/7, feeding your newborn. It can feel so overwhelming, right? Well, we're going to cut through all that noise. The goal here is super simple, to give you a practical, no-fluff guide so you can feel confident, like actually confident from day one. Let's dive in.
All right, let's just get this out of the way right now, because it's a huge one. Breastfeeding is not supposed to hurt. I know. For something that up to 90% of new moms experience, that sounds kind of crazy, right? But just because something is common doesn't make it normal. Think of pain less like a requirement and more like a little alarm bell from your body saying, hey, something's not quite right here, let's tweak it. It is not a toll you have to pay to feed your baby.
And 9 times out of 10, that little alarm bell is pointing to one thing, the latch. Seriously, this is the foundation of everything. Getting this right can make all the difference between a painful, frustrating experience and one that's comfortable and effective. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Here's the key concept to wrap your head around. The goal is breastfeeding, not nipple feeding. That might sound obvious, but it's a huge distinction. When a baby is only latched onto the nipple, ouch, that's where all the pain and damage comes from. What you're really aiming for is a nice, deep latch where the baby takes in not just the nipple, but a big mouthful of the areola too. Okay, so how do we actually do that? It's not as complicated as it sounds. Let's break it down into 4 simple steps. First, line up your baby's nose with your nipple. This encourages them to tilt their head back, which is exactly what you want. Step 2, patience. Wait for that giant yawn-like mouth. I'm talking wide open, like they're about to sing opera. Don't rush it. Third, when they open wide, bring them to you and aim your nipple toward the roof of their mouth, not straight in. And the last piece of the puzzle, step 4, make sure your baby takes in more of the bottom of your areola than the top. You want that asymmetrical look. That's the secret sauce for a deep, comfy latch. So, you've finished the feed. How do you know if you nailed it? Well, there's a super easy way to check your work. It's the after-feed nipple test. Just take a look. If it's nice and round, looking pretty much the same as it did before you started, congratulations, that's a great latch. But if it's kind of pinched or smushed or shaped like the tip of a brand new lipstick, that's your clue. It means the latch was a little shallow, and you can try for a deeper one next time. No big deal, just good information. All right, so you're working on the latch, things are feeling better, but then this other worry creeps in. It's probably the #1 question that keeps new parents up at night. Is my baby actually getting enough milk?
I mean, it makes sense to worry, right? There are no ounce markers on you. You can't see exactly how much they're drinking. It could feel like you're just guessing. But I promise, it's not a total mystery. Your baby gives you plenty of clues. You just have to know what to look for.
Let's talk about the 3 most reliable signs that tell you, yes, everything's going great. First up is weight gain. Your pediatrician's going to be all over this, but the big milestone is getting back to their birth weight by about 2 weeks old. Second, and you knew this was coming, diapers. Poopy diapers are your best friend here. You're looking for that transition from that dark, sticky meconium to a more yellow, seedy, kind of mustardy situation. And number 3 is a check-in with your own body. Do your breasts feel full before a feed and then noticeably softer, maybe even a little drained afterwards? If you've got those 3 things happening, you can take a deep breath and feel really confident that your baby is getting plenty.
Now, how often should you be doing this? Get ready for it. A newborn usually needs to eat about 8 to 12 times in a 24-hour period. And yeah, if you're doing the math, that feels like constantly. Because it basically is. If you feel like all you're doing is feeding the baby, you're not doing it wrong. That is 100% normal for the first few weeks.
And here's a super cool tip that feels like you're learning a secret language. Watch your baby's hands. It's amazing. When they're hungry, their little fists will be clenched up super tight, often right up by their face. But as they fill up on milk, you'll literally see those hands start to relax and open. It's like a built-in fullness gauge. And for the final test, you can try the limp arm trick. Gently lift one of their little arms. If it's floppy and just drops right back down, you have a very full, very satisfied, milk-drunk baby.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about some of the hardware, pumps and bottles. And can we just reframe this right now? These are not a sign of failure. They are tools in your toolkit. They're about flexibility, support, and honestly, sanity. Especially if you're heading back to work, the pressure to start pumping can feel intense, but you really don't have to go crazy from day one. Here's a much more chill timeline. For the first half of your leave, just don't. Seriously, focus on you, your baby, and getting into a groove. Then, about halfway through, you can start introducing the pump and a bottle. And you don't need to be hooked up for hours. Pumping just once or twice a day for maybe 10 minutes after a feed is a great way to start.
The goal here is not to have a freezer that looks like a commercial dairy. Just having a day or two's worth of milk ready to go is perfect. And look, pumping isn't just about going back to work. There are so many other reasons you might want to use one. Maybe your nipples are just over it and need a break. Totally valid. Maybe you want your partner to be able to help with the feeding, which is awesome for them and for you. Or maybe, just maybe, you want to go to Target by yourself and walk down every single aisle. A pump can make that happen. It's a tool for freedom.
So we've talked about technique, we've talked about tools, but none of that happens in a vacuum, which brings us to maybe the most important part of this whole equation, your support system. Because feeding a baby is not, and I repeat, not a one-person job. Okay, so let's call a huddle. This is for all the partners, the grandparents, the best friends, the neighbors, everyone who isn't the one physically feeding the baby. You might be thinking it's a two-person job, but I can't do the main part, so what am I supposed to do? People always say, let me know if you need anything, which is nice, but not super helpful. So let's get specific. How can you really, truly help?
Here you go, a cheat sheet, your official to-do list. 1. Bring snacks, specifically things she can eat with one hand that have some protein. 2. Become the water bottle warden. Her water bottle should never, ever be empty. 3. Do a chore without being asked. See dishes? Wash them. See laundry? Start a load. The mental load of having to delegate is exhausting. 4. Take the baby. Say, I've got the baby, you go take a shower. A long one. And maybe the most important one on the list. Tell her she's doing an amazing job. Because she is, and she needs to hear it.
And all of this whole support system leads us to our final and honestly most critical point. In this whirlwind of focusing on the baby, it is so easy to forget about you. But your well-being, your sanity, it isn't a nice to have, it is an absolute necessity.
So let me say this as clearly as I possibly can. It is okay to take a break. If you need a break, you should take one. If that means pumping and letting someone else give a bottle so you can sleep or just breathe, that is not failure. It is not giving up. It's smart. It's strategic. It's self-care. And a parent who is taking care of themselves is a better parent. Period. So we'll leave you with this final thought. We spend so much energy making sure the baby is fed. But what about you? The question isn't just, is the baby getting enough? It's also, what do you need to feel supported? Seriously, take a second and think about it, because answering that question for yourself is just as vital as anything else we've talked about today. You've got this.